During a period of inactivity, they roost in trees or caves. Some species roost alone, while others form colonies, up to 1 million individuals.
Dude, that's sweet.
Keep your car, your boat, your equipment ready when you need it to be. This is Stay-Built. Fuel can go bad in as little as 30 days, but for more than 60 years, Stay-Built has remained the brand to keep it fresh. Briggs & Stratton, Mastercraft, and Mecum Auctions trust the original fuel stabilizer. So can you. Spend more time doing the things you love with engines that help get you there. Stay-Built, since 1958.
The time has come for the end of the season for the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder. We've traveled the world in the first 3 rounds, from Virginia to Japan to California, and now we'll finish off this 4-round championship at Brands Hatch Circuit in the UK. Stocked with decades of history and weaving through the forest, this narrow, twisty racetrack is the perfect place to do battle one final time. Only days after GRIDLIFE Touring Cup returned to action at Gingerman Raceway, we head back to the esports realm for one more go in a digital environment. From the virtual booth, once again, I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Adam Jabay, who's probably exhausted from organizing and running another spectacular GRIDLIFE event. Adam, welcome back to GRIDLIFE Gaming. One more round remains tonight to crown a champion.
Yeah, 2.4 miles in the beautiful British countryside. This is one of those iconic tracks that many of us have never driven, but aspire to someday. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here with the Porsches.
All right, so taking a quick look at the point settings before this round, there's not a whole lot to report there, Adam, because Austin Cobb is atop by quite a margin. It's going to be basically impossible for him to lose this championship unless some really bad things happen tonight. So he's pretty much got this locked up. But let's head down to the racetrack here for practice. Let's debrief a little bit because you and I just came back from Gingerman Raceway a few days ago. I know you had a lot going on the past couple days getting our return to action for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup underway. Some fun stuff coming up on the GRIDLIFE YouTube channel the next couple days involving a sort of rebroadcast of those events thanks to the specialty field and stream guys, or field streaming guys. But we're back in the esports realm, Adam. So we had a successful GLTC round again. Race 1 had a bit of a scary moment with some oil slick down there in turn 5, but we got it all pretty much under control, and then had some barn burners the rest of the weekend with Aaron Lichty, Eric Cattell, and Luke McGrew all scoring victories.
Yeah, pretty wild race weekend. It was fun to watch. It was stressful to manage, but I'm glad everybody came away safe. We had some really, really fun races, especially that last one right at the end. Luke McGrew really pulling that one out. Nose to tail with the 6-car invert. Really fun to watch. Trackside, it was every single lap, I was just more and more convinced how cool Luke McGrew was under pressure. It was really impressive to see.
It was a lot of fun, and I'm sure watching the 3 wide into turn 1 a couple times was a little bit hair-raising, but they did it somehow, and we only had really one car casualty, and that was Eric Meadows' car having a bit of a motor explosion. And then we have, of course, Anish Ramarkani also having a bit of a hub failure in turn number 5 and 6, or 6 and 7. It was farther down the track than that. 8, maybe 8.
I think it was in the 7-8-9 complex there. But luckily, all's well that ends well, except for the spinny bits inside the long block of Eric Meadows' car. But he's local to Luke McGrew, and he's done a lot of engine swaps in those cars this year. So I think we'll see an Eric Meadows back sooner than later.
That's good to hear. So our next round is going to be in about 3 weeks at Autobahn Country Club, and that's a track that I don't know a whole lot about, so excited to learn more about that track as we head into the next round of the season. Currently, Aaron Lichty leads the point settings in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, about 50 points over the next best driver, and DJ Alessandrini, who was the points leader coming into Gingerman Raceway this weekend, of course, he wasn't running, so he will slip back to 5th in the standings, and all have updated point standings and driver stats available on the SimTVBroadcasting.com website by this weekend, so you can check if you're a competitor, your career stats as well as your current point standing situation in the season-long 2020 championship. So we'll head into the Hard Times Challenge here tonight. We've got Stable on board for the last round of the season as well. Practice is underway here, but you mentioned this as being a beautiful English countryside racetrack here. It's quite old. It's actually built on an old English military training ground, but lots of elevation, lots of fast sweeping corners.
Yeah, I believe it was even used as like a horse track when it was unpaved. So it's been a racing place for a long time.
It has been. We got about 40 drivers lined up tonight to go racing. One of those drivers, including Jackie Ding in the number 86. He was out at Gingerman last weekend in his TA90 Supra and making some pretty quick laps around there as well. I think he had some trouble with the car this weekend, but as he goes around for a loop there, he also ran in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup for the first time in the Pika S2K and had a pretty solid couple races that he ran there, just kind of shaking down the car for Fiona when she returns in a couple rounds. But Jackie had a busy weekend.
Yeah, he was double car. Double car is like triple the work, so we appreciate him putting in the effort. Him and his crew always thrashing. They're really in the middle of a big development phase in that Supra that he's got. They did set some really fast times, got on the podium in Street Mod, and it looked like he really enjoyed himself in GLTC. Always a teething problem with a new race car build that Pikachu S2000s only had a few laps at Coda. And other than that, it's still kind of in the development phase.
We'll head back out on track here in the Hard Times Challenge. He was last out at Twin Ring Motegi. Had some issues there, but looking for a smoother round this time. One other driver that's here tonight, Tom O'Gorman, had the pleasure of riding with him at Gingerman last weekend on Sunday afternoon in Kobe Shields Camaro, and I was told that we did a 138, a low 138, and Adam, it was my first time going sub 140 at Gingerman. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun, and thanks. I'm still smiling thinking about how wild that was. And the only laps I had last year were in the Drift Civic, so that was a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah, a little bit different there.
Yes.
Those big new Camaros can really put down some serious grip. You get a lot of tire underneath of those, especially with the Street GT rules. It kind of allows a large tire versus the Street Mod rules. Kind of class designed around some of the more modern muscle car style, GTR style cars that we see in track day world, but. Yeah, Kobe Shields' car did quite well too. I believe it won Street GT this week too.
It did, and it was I think it was a 37 that got it done in that category. But he's been really impressive in that car, and I want to extend a huge thank you again to him. Also, I should have grabbed the link earlier. I think I still have it available. It wasn't all without a little bit of drama this weekend. Obviously, we had the incident in Time Attack involving a couple of cars on the backside of 10B, and it totaled 2 cars, a Camaro and a Civic, and there's actually a GoFundMe link right now for Evan, whose Civic was the one that got totaled over there in 10B, and right now I think within about a couple hours it's already raised over $2,000. So that link, I
believe it's over $4,000 now.
Wow, and I just checked it half an hour ago, so that just tells you how much support there is out there.
I actually have been talking to John and Eric and Cody and a few others who, like, we sort of put together some of that GoFundMe stuff. John's the one who did all the back end work over there. We really appreciate some of the effort there. And Evan's been driving with GRIDLIFE and with our Honda Meet event for many years. Always just the nicest dude and always so enthusiastic, and really just he and Sam just got kind of wrapped up in a really nasty mechanical failure there. We're glad to see both drivers protected by their cars in various ways, and both of them walking around. It was one of the nastiest wrecks that I've ever seen in person. I didn't see the wreck, but I saw the aftermath. We walked up to it. It was sheer carnage, but both drivers A-OK, no ambulance trips needed, and we're just more than thankful for that. So yes. Really, if you're going to have something like that, that's the best possible ending. And we are so thankful to Evan for his safety choices, and thankful to Sam for his choices in a modern car. Modern cars crash a lot better than old Honda Civics, but you can make a Honda Civic pretty strong if you build a good cage, containment seat, a Hans. So safety paramount, top of mind with many drivers, and we're happy about that.
Absolutely, and of course, race cars can be replaced, people can't, so glad to hear that. But if you would like to contribute to Evan's rebuild effort, I'm having Chris hopefully post that link in the chats across the interwebs here, so you can help get him back on track as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're happy to have him with us, and we can't wait to see him again.
So about a minute left in practice here, and Austin Cobb, who is the points leader coming into the night, really just needs no drama, and he'll take home the championship. He's won a couple of these races that all started at VIR. Very impressive drive, and this is he's put a lot of time and effort into building setups for this car, Adam, and with an update last week to iRacing, all those setups were completely garbage. None of them meant anything. So he had to redo everything this week to get a car worth driving, and he's sitting third, so he's got it sorted out.
Yeah, just kind of always in the right place, the right time. We've in 3 weeks in a row, he's done well, but multiple races he's done the best. So I think that's how you do it. You just consistency, clean driving. We're seeing kind of the makings of how you win championships in real life happen here also.
So he'll come across the line at 1:25.868 that time through, and we got about 9 seconds left in practice, so he will pull off the racetrack. There's a look at Brands Hatch from high above. It's a beautiful racetrack nestled in the woods of the English countryside. And we've got, again, 40 drivers here lined up for a couple heat races and a feature event. And we had a bit of a different schedule last week because of some issues within iRacing at Sonoma, and we ended up really not running the typical heat format, and that has sort of adjusted how the point situation looked. But tonight we're going to be back to our normal format. We'll take another look at how this works. Again, we had open qualifying and we've taken our top 60 drivers. Of course, tonight we had only 40, so that means that everybody is going to get a chance to race tonight. But again, heat qualifying going to separate into our odds and evens, and we'll take the top 15, send them straight to the feature race. The bottom 15 will compete for the top 10 spots, but everybody again will get to race. They'll just end up at the bottom of the order for the start tonight. So open, I should say closed car qualifying underway right now, and getting a fast lap, very important. We saw this in GLTC this weekend as well, Adam, that qualifying up front was very important. It's hard to pass at Gingerman, and this is a track, again, I also think is sort of similar in some ways with some fast sweeping corners, not super easy to pass at.
Yeah, and it's an older track. It's not quite as wide as you see in some pro tracks nowadays, but big sweeping corners and minimal straightaway. It's not like we saw with Twin Ring Motegi, where it's got a lot of kinks and low speed digs. This has got some fast stuff, but some big sweepers. Just a really, really interesting track. Really, really cool.
On board Chris Borsma on the number 11 as he heads down into the far side of the course here, and not a lot of room for error here either. There is a little bit of AstroTurf and grasscrete, is what they like to call it, on corner exit. If you get past that and over that, there's a lot of tire barriers to hit around here, Adam. Very different from Gingerman in that regard. So don't make mistakes tonight. It's going to be hard with 39 other competitors right on top.
I was very thankful that there weren't barriers in the turn 5-6 complex. When the oil down did happen, I think we had 4 or 6 grass fires, cars stuck deep out in the grass, but that's a smooth grass area, and all those cars raced the next day, so we were very happy about that. But these natural terrain road courses built around more of like a pro environment nowadays, they put in these big walls so you can get spectators around there, which is understandable, but it also does increase a little bit of danger.
Yeah, that was a hair-raising moment for us in the booth watching that all happen. It's a lot more fun when it's NASCAR teams and you don't have any emotional investment in any of the drivers in particular, but seeing all your buddies go off at 95 miles an hour into what was potentially very dangerous situation. I'm glad everybody walked away from that, and no car damage to speak.
I've never seen more cars go off in oil in my life, I don't think. There was a big oil down in a short area, but it happened in a braking zone, which is a scary time. 12 cars going off in one spot, but we got real lucky. It pays to be lucky, so cross your fingers we can keep that up.
It reminded me, there was a time, I think it was back in 2015, that NASCAR was actually doing group qualifying at restrictor plate tracks. This happened in an Xfinity Series qualifying effort at Daytona, where they had a field of about 10 to 12 cars all drafting together, and the track just started raining just in the middle of the back straightaway. They all hit it together on slicks, and everybody went for a ride. And that was about the closest thing I can recall to seeing something like that, except that time they tore everybody up, so it wasn't such a fun day for those guys.
Yeah, I would imagine on a super speedway things don't go well when you throw banana peels all over the racetrack. Not so much.
Everybody got out of that one without too big of a deal, and we also saw Luke McGrew get his first race victory in GLTC, which was really exciting to see. That was only his 5th or 6th start, so that was really impressive. And wasn't a K-Miata. that time.
It was a Duratec 2.5 swap NC, which is kind of the Derek Yarbrough formula. That's the formula that Eric Meadows also drives, and I think Justin Lee is probably gonna be swapping into one of those. He's in an NC as well. So we got 4 NCs actively at the pointy end. Or trying to be there. And it's cool to see different platforms being developed for GLTC.
There's a Cayman out there now. That was cool.
Yeah, you and I were looking at that Cayman on Friday night. It is it's so cool. Scott Bowling's Cayman, so pro built too. The cage is gorgeous. The car is beautiful. It's a detuned, totally stock engine. I mean, it probably is, as far as consumables go, something like that is probably a great choice for a wheel-to-wheel series. You take some of the power out, you take some of the strain off the drivetrain. He's running the dual clutch transmission, the PDK. Probably really, really fun car.
And it actually did pretty well too. I think it ran top 15 pretty much every race, so that was cool to see. Of course, we also had Andy Smedgard in an S2000 running up towards the front. I think it has a K20 in it. But that car had engine issues, I think, in race number 2, so he retired that car for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, actually, I think it was in the practice on Sunday morning he had the issue, like lap 1. That car's got about 5,000 or 3,000 or 5,000 track miles. It was formerly a heavily flogged, shared HPDE car. So it has seen its fair share of track miles, but he actually got home to Wisconsin, North Wisconsin, at 8:20 on Sunday, and he drove the car to his house at midnight. So that car is back up and running.
Wow, that's good to hear.
Engine swap, everything is all good to go.
Really cool. So again, we're going to have extended Grid Life Touring Cup news and information, results, stats, all on simtvbroadcasting.com here in the next couple days, I got my results sheets, and thanks to the timing and scoring guys for being very prompt about that. I didn't even have to ask them. They were just putting them on the desk every time I came up in there, which was really cool. So it was nice working with everybody again and getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah, Jason, Kevin, and Abe did a great job this weekend. I want to say thanks to them.
For sure. And Abe obviously home on baby watch, but was still there in spirit, was on FaceTime most of the weekend. Probably was in the tower more than I was, albeit through an internet connection. That was another thing we had to sort out, was the internet all weekend, but we got something. Yeah. So that happened. I'll say that.
I would actually venture a guess to say that Abe might have worked more hours from home than he does when he's at the track, because he's a social butterfly in real life, but when he's at home, he's focused. That dude put in some real work. We appreciate all the help this weekend.
A lot of people, a lot of efforts put in by a bunch of people in the Grid Life crew to make that event happen the way it did, safely and distance as much as possible. But now we've got to focus again on our race this evening, on our last event of the Hard Times Challenge for the Grid Life iRacer Series, and 1 minute and 20 seconds left in qualifying, and Dan Nyman in the 57 sits at the top of the board, Tom O'Gorman second, and he told me earlier, I'm not going to say exactly what he said because it wouldn't be family friendly, but he said that he basically doesn't care what happens tonight, so it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him go out there and leave it all on the line.
Yeah, Tom obviously runs the fast lap time very frequently. He has been he's been in the wrong place at the wrong time in a lot of these races, and I'm really curious to see how he does if he can get himself in the start, if he can get himself into a good spot and flip that coin. I want to see Tom run up front. He's obviously very, very capable. But when you get this many cars and they're all the same exact car, it's tough. Anything can happen.
All right, so before our first heat race, we're going to step away for just a moment. Dan Nyman, Tom O'Gorman sitting on pole for this first heat race, actually they're separated into their heat races. So Nyman and O'Gorman, both pole sitters for their respective heat races. We'll be back in just 1 second after this word from Staybill.
What do we do when we love something? We protect it. We keep it clean. We yearn for time to stand still. At 303, we know it better than most. Engineered 40 years ago to protect aircraft, 303 products now bring out the best in your ride, your boat, and your home. For however you want to protect the things you love, we've got your number.
Welcome back live to the Grid Life iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder. It's time for the final event of the season from Brands Hatch Circuit as we line up for our first of 2 heat races. This is our odds, first, third, fifth, and so on. Pole sitter will be Dan Nyman, and right alongside him will be Kenton Cook in the number 2, competitor in the past in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, as well as a current competitor in GT World Challenge America and an Aston Martin GT4. Here again tonight in the Porsche 911 Cup car in his very distinctive pink paint scheme here, Adam. And he's going to be a tough one to beat. But Lyman is incredibly quick, and Barroso, Hausiel, James Barr making up the rest of your top 5.
Yeah, a lot of familiar names there at the front, and it's. I think this is going to be a fun one to see. This track should be really, really fun to watch on the start. The turns aren't quite so wild, but I'm wondering how many Porsches can go wide here without getting out in the dirt and getting stuck.
Well, they give you a couple feet of concrete out past the edge of the curb, and I guarantee you they're going to use that plus a couple feet here. So there's your starting lineup on the left-hand side of the screen. 21 drivers. Starting way in the back in 20th position is Jackie Ding. So he's got a lot of positions to make up. It'll be fun to watch him carve through the field. Just waiting on Barroso and CL Moon finish out the rest of the field. Now just waiting on Moon, but I'm not sure that he's going to make it. So time to go racing in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder. Heat race number 1. The odd drivers. Here we go. Green flag flies. 10 minutes on the board at Brands Hatch. The field scrambles down towards turn number 1. Lyman's clear of Cook, and Barroso has a look up the inside. Backs out as they head down the hill. Several stories down. Big slide in the middle of the field. Someone goes spinning around. That looks like that might be is that Montello? Yes, in the 13 car. He'll also collect James Barr in the 61, so both those drivers will spin off. Meanwhile, for the race lead, here comes Lyman up the inside. Cook trying to fight back from the outside lane, now crosses over through turn 3.
Overall, really clean start there. A couple of spins, but we're seeing great racing out at the front here. Just a little bit ahead of everybody. Nyman's got a really good, solid start there. Really clean.
Ryan Christoph goes spinning off. James Tack in the 72 goes off. It looks like those cars will continue without much, if any, damage, but couple spins and slides there as we head through the first sector, but Lyman has the race lead. Kenton Cook putting the pressure on. Bit of a drop of wheel in the grass. We saw that a lot this weekend as well, Adam. People dropping tires off course. It was very dusty at Gingerman this past weekend.
Yeah, we saw a lot of grass fires. I think we put out 10 grass fires, if I recall correctly. But it looks a little bit more muddy here in the British countryside in virtual world than it does in the sandy, dusty plains of West Michigan.
And to Cook offsetting to driver's right, just trying to distract Lyman just slightly. 8.5 minutes to go, so 1 lap complete. It only takes about 1 minute and 20 seconds to get around here as Lyman comes across the line at 1:29.5 for his first lap.
Yeah, super fast track, a lot of high-speed gear here. This dropping first turn here is such a cool turn. A good amount of safe runoff. We saw cars go off but not get walled, not get taken out of the race. They can live to race another day. Really, really cool layout of the track here.
Down the hill now, out of Druids and into Graham Hill Bend is Lyman and Cook still running nose to tail. Then it's Barroso, Hausiel, 3rd and 4th. Robert McDaniels has had an off into his red Porsche. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to him. He had, looks like, was that Ryan Christoph in front of him? Yes, it is, into the braking zone. Just runs a little wide, gets the left side tires into the gravel and just goes straight on, and that's a big hit there. Took out the 25 car.
I do like his livery, though. That's
Yes.
a good-looking GLPC sticker there. I think he runs the Duff Beer livery in real life on the Miata, too.
And I think he does. As these front two, 0.3 of a second between them. Chris Harp in the 462 has gone for a loop at the exit. I believe that's turn 4, and Surtees, I believe. So we'll get back rolling again. Nice looking livery on that car. Very colorful. And back
A little
up.
bit here as far as leaders and stuff, but we got a few battles here throughout the field.
Right now, the front 4 pretty tight together. Checking in on Jackie Ding. Didn't he start 20th? We'll get him up to 8th. That's plus 12 in 2 laps.
Really, really impressive. Some great moves there by Jackie Ding, working his way through the entire field there.
Actually, it's going to be even 7th because Robert McDaniels had reset that, put him up at the top of the order there for a second. But so Ding was actually up 13 spots in 2 laps.
Super solid run there.
Back up to the race lead. Lyman from pole almost lost the lead. Down. Whoa, look at Kenton Cook. A big slide there. No traction control or ABS in these cars. You have to manhandle it, and that is what Kenton Cook has done. Barroso putting pressure on him now from behind.
Yeah, 126.157 the last lap around there for Dan Lyman. Being chased really closely with Cook, but they 126.202. So running really, really similar lap times there for the best in their first couple laps.
Putting some distance on Ken Hausiel back and 4th, and Jacob Bessemer in 5th. Matt Christie in 6th, and Jackie Ding farther back, about 5 seconds back in 7th place. Looking back up
beautiful views of the natural elevation road courses. One of those old historic tracks that's, I mean, you just see this shot right there and that shot. Like, oh, you almost don't have an uninterrupted beautiful view here.
It really is a gorgeous racetrack, and I love racetracks that are kind of hidden in the forest. A track much like Road America in that sense, where you kind of descend into the trees, and it's such a cool track. As we have seen, Anthony Montello has had an issue in his number 13 car. Go back and see what happened to him. Off into turn 4. Kind of comes to a stop in the grass here and pulls off. I think he had enough.
You never know. Sometimes you can't dissect the nature of the industry, of the crash. You can only just suspect.
All right, so Lyman has a pretty solid lead now, 1 second, and is slightly pulling away. Kenton Cook still second. Kind of missed the apex on corner entry there. Barroso closes up still, so second place is where the battle is. Matt Christie out of 6th place. He's lost it at the exit of Graham Hill. Let's see if we can find out what happened to him.
Went a little bit too hot, it looks like, and back end came around. Just
a little bit too much, and on corner exit, the car just stepped out on him, so Christie goes around. He'll end up back in 13th place. Check back in. He's actually gone around again. The next corner.
These drivers competing not to get into the final, but for their position for the start. So we're, I mean, this we've seen with the 40 car fields. That's a very critical piece of your final result is your start. That would be a big field in finals. So
yeah, again, we're not really eliminating anybody tonight, but I think you're going to want to be qualified up front if you want a chance to win this race. So,
oh yeah.
So also, we're not going to have a consolation event tonight, as Tom McCormick reminded me. As we see Barroso out of 3rd, he's going to go wide at the exit of turn 1, drag the tires in the gravel. That'll bring Ken Alseal right back up. Attempt for a podium spot here in the first heat.
Really good save there by Barroso. He got into the deep stuff and got right back on. That was with a minimal loss of momentum, it appears as well.
Yeah, you can see him just understeer right off into the gravel. Great job getting it back under control. Did lose quite a bit of time to second place Kenton Cook.
Super impressive, though.
Ooh, Alseal going for a bit of a ride at corner exit, drops a tire there. And Dan Nyman really showing his stuff tonight. The question is he going to be good enough to beat DJ Alessandrini and Austin Cobb? Those two are going to be in the second heat as Tyler McEwen has an issue at the exit of Graham Hill Bend, and looks like he'll get his car back up to speed, back in 13th place.
You mentioned Road America, how it's got sort of a similar look, and several of these turns seem to have a similar feel as well, as far as the distance to the barriers, the actual turns themselves. It's got a very it almost feels reminiscent from this in-car video here. I mean, you see some of that woods shot. It just feels like you're at Road America. If you took a split-second shot there, there's several turns there that you'd have to guess which one you were at.
Really, both really pretty tracks, and I was just they actually just did an amazing update to Road America within iRacing that really sells you that experience of being in the woods, and I can only imagine what camping at Road America is like. That's got to be an amazing experience, and I wish I could do that. And you know what, Adam, maybe I'll get the chance this year, so we'll see what happens.
I think this might be the year for that. It's such a large place too. You can camp and you could never see anybody else. It's so big.
It's a big place. They call it the National Park of Speed, and I think that's got more than one meaning there.
Yeah, it's so big. Very big. I think you'll really enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. I've also heard a lot about the food there.
Yes. Yeah.
There's stuff to look forward to in general. I've also heard the town is pretty cool. So there's a lot of reasons I want to go to Road America. So I'm looking forward to that. I wish it was sooner than later.
I'm going to take you to Siebkens, and we're going to stick a Sim TV sticker somewhere.
Yes.
It's going to be cool.
All right, so Dan Nyman working his way through. 2 laps to go. Next time, Bobby, white flag in the first heat. Again, we'll have a second heat, and that'll be it. We'll grid the field from there. No consolation, no elimination tonight. Everyone will get a chance to race. This is really just setting the grid for the inside row as Lyman comes on through. Pretty much perfect run for him so far.
Yeah, 2.4 miles and a really, really fast lap of 2.4 miles. This is a high average speed track.
Over 100 miles an hour on the front straight, then you're only down to V-min of like 88 through turn 1 as you fall down the way. The track just disappears out from underneath your tires and unsettles the car. Back for third place, Alex Barroso has a rear mirror full of Ken Ausiel.
Yeah.
That kind of the bedliner look on the 23 car. Interesting choice of livery.
Battle, yeah. I do really like that Apple livery, though. Barroso's got quite a good look there.
Really does. It's a very classic looking race car, so he'll head up the hill now, trying to defend from Ken Ausiel, but Dan Lyman, as he worked through the middle sector of this track, this Lazarus Esports car has been perfect from the drop of the green flag, other than one slip up where Kenton Cook had a look up the inside, unable to do much with it, but looking like he'll grab Heat 1 race victory here if he can just hang on.
Yeah, he's got just a comfortable margin of victory, but yeah, the victory's not there yet, just about there. A few more turns.
There's a look at the woods here as you see Lyman come up out of the hole that is the middle sector. And Ausiel and Barroso, look at that. Ausiel has gotten around Barroso. Barroso's gonna head down the inside. Big dive on the brakes, but Ausiel is through for third, not done yet. Barroso has a look to driver's left. Ausiel goes defensive. They're going to have a run to the final corner. He moves back left. Barroso is there. Oh, Ausiel drove it in too deep. He's going to go off. Wide goes the 23 car. Barroso gets back by. Nyman wins Heat 1. Cook second. Barroso third. Ausiel struggles to get it back on course, but fourth place for him. That was wild.
Yeah, fun couple last turns to watch there. We're glad that he kept it on the circuit somewhat and was able to finish. It could have been disastrous there overall.
There's another look at how he started to get the pass done. It looks like Barroso had a very similar incident. He slipped wide. That left Ausiel with a run up the inside lane. Skip ahead here to just now as they entered the final corner, and he just chucked it in there, hoped it would stick, and it just didn't. Right here.
Yeah, he was running for his life, and you see the back end step out just a little bit, and it was just enough to put him in the rocks. Not quite enough to keep those tires on that black stuff. I love that first pass though. Great job by Ausiel. They're really going for it.
There's a look at your race results. Nyman, Cook, Barroso, Ausiel, Bessemer, your top 5. Jackie Ding, 20th to 6th. That was a heck of a drive. He'll start on the inside of row number 6 in the feature event later this evening. So we're about to get ready to go racing for our second heat of the night. This will be our even drivers, which will include points leader Austin Cobb and runner-up in the points DJ Alessandrini. So that's going to be real interesting to watch those two fight for positions here shortly.
Yeah, I'm reading about the history of Brands Hatch here, and some of the very first motorcycle races were "quote unquote" very informal, with much of the organization being done on spot. That sounds like early grid life. I knew I liked this place for a reason.
I wonder,
6 or 8 years ago, grid life was sort of in a similar boat.
Is there a time attack bracket for motorcycles?
No, but maybe someday, right?
Maybe someday.
Yeah, when we can run 24-hour days at a racetrack, we can have a bracket for everybody.
Maybe it's some lawnmower racing. Little boys down south. That might be fun. All right. Well, one of the drivers.
The daylight is the restricting factor there.
Let's race them at night. Let's do it. As we grid up for our second heat race, and one driver I mentioned Austin Cobb and DJ Alessandrini. They start on row 2, but on row 1, it's Tom O'Gorman. And Mackay Stevens in the number 18. He'll start on the outside of the front row in his black number 18. So O'Gorman, Stevens, Cobb, Alessandrini, Marc-Antoine Blaise in the 30 car. He will start in 5th. And Lupfer, Fike, Boersma, Vallejo, and James Houghton running out your top 10. We missed Houghton and Boersma this past weekend, Adam. We need the borders to open back up so we can have our friends from the north back.
Yeah, we're talking about potential timelines, and it looks like the border might open the day before the Autobahn event. So we're crossing our fingers that we can see our friends from America's hat. We're looking forward to it.
Right, well, we've got the entire field gridded up, all 20 drivers. All the way back to the last row. It has Austin Barnes back there. Surprised he didn't get a very good qualifying effort, but he'll start position number 19. So Alessandrini, Cobb, O'Gorman, I think, are the ones to watch. Max Lupfer had a pretty strong qualifying effort in the 688. He's working on a BMW 2002 for GLTC.
Yeah.
We're working on some rust repair. I think he's replaced pretty much every panel on that car by this point, but hopefully
it's
someday.
A brand new car.
We'll get to see it on track at some point. Hopefully.
Green flag now.
All right, here we go. Waiting for the green flag to drop. O'Gorman, Stevens, Cobb, Alessandrini, Blaise. Green flag in the air. 10 minutes for heat number 2. A great start in the background by the 663 Nick Nelson. But Austin Cobb up the inside. That'll be for second. Lockup for Mackay Stevens. He's going to go way wide. Does he miss the barrier? Yes, he will. Going to find a way back on track as we head into Druids for the first time. O'Gorman, Cobb, Alessandrini plays loop for your top 5 as the rest of the field heads down now towards Graham Hill Bend.
Pretty cool start there in the mid-pack. We saw about 4 cars wide there as they approached that first right-hander. So far, so good, but the cleanliness department, though, always good to see.
Just one car having a bit of an off there. Everyone else has made it through. Now we wait for them to come up under the bridge. It's Tom O'Gorman leading by half a second over Austin Cobb, the points leader. All he has to do tonight is really just finish somewhere near the top of the order. It doesn't really matter as long as he doesn't crash out. He'll be just fine. Pass going on deeper in the field behind Nelson. That's Corentin Dubois, as we do have an off. It's a Lupfer, who had such a great effort to start this race. He'll go for a spin and drop all the way down to the tail of the field.
Looks like the car will compete still. That he doesn't have the typical Ryan Christoph hood that we've seen the last few weeks. The car might still be a one-piece.
It's George Fike. He's had a bit of an off, and we'll let Jason Lisner on through with a 92, who was really impressive last week at Sonoma. We got James Houghton around for a loop. No damage on that car, just a simple spin. As Tom O'Gorman comes on through, he'll lead lap number 1 with the hard-charging Austin Cobb and DJ Alessandrini right behind.
We've talked about these cars for several weeks about how twitchy they can be, how difficult they are on the brakes to really find that perfection. Some of it comes down to sim setup, some of it comes down to the way you drive them. But yeah, you can never underestimate these cars to steal finishing position away from one of these drivers if they really don't hit their marks and get these cars perfectly piloted around the circuit.
Chris Boersma looks like he's backing out of what was about to be a very intense battle. Maybe a touch there from Alexander Lekowitz in the bright green and purple car. You see, looks like that is Nelson off in the background. He's got it back going again. Lisner all over Vallejos. That is for 5th in the number 53 car as they head up the hill now towards Hawthorne Bend. Good battle there for what is 5th place.
Fast first couple laps here. Our last lap there for Tom O'Gorman in 1:30.90, followed up by 1:31.259 by Austin Cobb. So O'Gorman really laying down a flyer there, stepping up that gap just a little bit. We'll see what they've got in the next 7.5 minutes here.
Oh, looks like Lisner's way wide there, just touches the crest, gets it back on course. There's Mackay Stevens back up the inside through Alexander Lekowitz. He forces his way down there and moves himself up into 8th place as Tom O'Gorman comes on through, leads lap number 2. Matthew Morhart has had an issue in the 40. He spins in the background. But Cobb, Alessandrini running out the rest of your top 3 as we head down towards Druids again.
Yeah, 1:26.371 last lap around, and Cobb chasing him with a 1:26.510. Alessandrini, though, just a little bit faster, 1:26.303. So far, our fastest lap of the race.
He's going to start putting pressure on Austin Cobb here shortly. As we go back to Borsman, we can see he's got Mackay Stevens all over him as they head down now towards Graham Hill Bend. Stevens originally started up inside the top 5, had that off in turn 1, and tried to recover from it. Here he comes to the inside, big left-hand swipe on the inside of Borsma. He's on through as Chris lets him go. Doesn't want to fight that and potentially get himself into a problem.
Yeah, good clean pass there, and Stevens really pretty comfortable with this car. Obviously, really throwing that car offline, online, all over this racetrack and making it stick. So, showing some of his experience with this car for sure. Through
Dingle-Dell now, as you see Austin Cobb has a rear view mirror that is absolutely just completely filled with the bright orange, blue, and red colors of DJ Alessandrini's GRIDLIFE sponsored car. Now through Sterling's Bend as we head down towards Clark Curve, and this is the final final corner on the racetrack. You see DJ trying to close in. This is such an awkward corner to carry speed through. Now back onto the front straight.
Looks like DJ is just a little bit better through that turn. You saw that gap shrink just a tiny bit, but last lap around, the 26.37 for O'Gorman, a 26.51 for Cobb, and a 26.0 for Alessandrini. So the 0 is the key function there, just a little bit faster, half a second faster that last lap around than both those other drivers in front of him.
Through the trees here at Brands Hatch, and thanks to Finney Nakuno, who does all of our cameras and sets them all up for us, and he has done an exceptional job here tonight. So our front 3 having an exceptional battle as well. The rest of the field has sort of found some room to race here, Adam, with 5 minutes left to go in Heat 2.
And all they've got to do is continue. They are all in the race, but yeah, fighting for starting position. As we talked about, we're seeing this onboard battle here of Alessandrini really getting into the livery there of Cobb. Apex livery, very cool classic Japanese livery on this German warship here in the British countryside.
Cutting all these curbs, you're going to use every little bit that you can back into Sterling's Bend again. And closing up a little bit is Austin Cobb on Tom O'Gorman as we now head once again towards the final corner on the racetrack. And as he mentioned earlier, said he wasn't really going to care. We had a couple drivers that had some drinks before the Road Atlanta race at the end of the previous series, and they had a lot better results doing that. So maybe the key is to not care, because Tomo is doing really well right now.
Talk about that in real life, but I can allow it in the virtual world. You know? I do know a certain professional driver who has done some testing at go-kart tracks, private rentals go-kart tracks, and there is big hit for Kyle Vallejos, and that will completely destroy the right rear hub assembly of that car, and we have to go back and take a look at that. That was a vicious impact. Here's another look. He just slips up here, Adam, and I think he just lets the car roll backwards into traffic, and this is where he gets himself into trouble. Oh, what an impact. Nowhere to go there, unfortunately, for the other car there. Just a bad spot. Wrong place, wrong time.
And he's going to slide back across the racetrack here, and this is for Lekowitz. This is really the worst feeling ever. Right there. Tire comes off, the hood crumples. Exceptional showing of the new damage model on this car. We also saw that to the inside was Mackay Stevens, who had spun in front of these drivers, potentially distracting them, maybe causing that collision. But our race leader still Tom O'Gorman, as we come now. This time will be 2 laps to go.
Yeah, a 125.797 in front of the 125.555 last time around. So right now, Austin Cobb with the fastest last lap. He is working his way towards the back bumper of O'Gorman. Closer and closer there. The gap right now, a 0.41 and then a 1.3 for Cobb and Alessandrini.
Good run for Austin Cobb through Druids, but it looks like Tomo really had the advantage that corner exit of turn 1. Carried a lot more speed through the exit there, and I got a chance to ride with him in the Camaro during GRIDLIFE Spring Kickoff, and just watching Tom drive, he's so smooth. I'm not sure if have you ridden with Tom before, Adam?
I have, and I've also compared data with him, same car, same day, and he's better than me.
I was just shocked because, again, the previous time I'd ridden with him was anything but smooth because we were sliding around in a Civic, but just watching him transfer this big, heavy Camaro from understeer to oversteer so beautifully, it was amazing to watch, and he's got a special touch that not that many drivers have.
Now you got to think like what they're mainly doing there is they are managing grip in the tires, and smooth is fast is a saying for a reason, because basically the smoother you are, the more grip that you can keep in those tires. You want to keep tire to pavement, and wild inputs sometimes don't do that.
So coming through this time, 1 lap to go for Tomo to put himself on the outside of the front row for the feature event. Austin Cobb, half a second back, trying to close in. Got trouble in the background. Ooh, loop for the big impact. He's also tangled with Clinton Ford. Let's have a look here at how this began. And this was another multi-car incident. Loop Ford had gone off earlier in the race. I think Clinton Ford is going to spin around right here, and it's going to tag Loop Ford. They're both going to slam the wall together and detach the left front tire from the rest of the suspension there. But the rest of the leaders now entering the middle sector.
Still there, but right now Cobb and O'Gorman, this is the battle to watch here. They are really, really close. 0.216 the gap right now.
Cobb closed right up to the rear tailpipes of Tom O'Gorman, the flat 6, screaming out the back of these cars as Tomo runs a little bit wide as they head now towards Jingle Dell, and they're through already, now down to Sheens, flying through the forests here in the United Kingdom. As look at Cobb, he's right there, has a look into Sterling's Bend, nowhere to go. 1 more corner, that's Clark's, and off in the dirt just enough. That's going to kill any momentum he had. Tom O'Gorman. See the lights flashing on Cobb? Too little, too late. Tomo comes on through. He'll win heat number 2 of the night.
Good to see Tom have a good start, a good clean race, and a little bit of victory after all the back end work that he's put into this series. Finally, a little bit of payoff there for Mr. O'Gorman. Great job overall there.
And celebrating with a burnout here down in turn number 1. Like the chromatic side skirts and wing on that car. Good looking vehicle he's got tonight as we take a look at our race results as the rest of the field comes on through. And wait for the page back over. Again, heat racing likes to think that there's more cars here because there are more cars here. It's not scored right now, so we'll wait for it to page back over. Tomo by 0.6 of a second over Austin Cobb. There we go. DJ Alessandrini, 3rd place. I was surprised we didn't see more on a DJ.
Yeah, he did tighten that gap up, though, 1.2 at the end of it, but he had it down to under 1 second. Good, clean race, though. He knew what he needed to do. He needed to get into this feature race in a good position.
Alexander Lekowicz comes back in 12th after that impact with 53 of Vallejos at the exit of 1. And there was some bet, to my understanding, Adam, where I don't know what the circumstances were, but Tom and DJ at the next GRIDLIFE event are both getting pies in their face for whatever reason, but I don't know why, but they are getting pied in the face, so we'll have to capture that and make sure that gets out to GRIDLIFE social media as well.
Well, for whatever reason that happens, I hope somebody grabs me off of my my trackside office in the pit cart there, the engineering stand, and points me in the general direction of said activities.
Well, it's going to be fun. We do actually have an LCQ here. I'm not sure if we're going to skip this or not, but it looks like we might just run this out and grid up our final 10 regardless. We'll see how this will pan out here. Either way, it'll be a 10-car race. Christie, Lupfer, Harp, Morhart, James Barr, Vallejo, Montello, Sean Foes, Robert McDaniels, and George Fike are the 10 drivers competing in this. Again, all 10 will get to race here tonight. Wait, rest of the field.
Yeah, going to be quite a battle here in the dropping right-hander. I'm looking forward to seeing the start here. A little bit of runoff on the outside left, so hopefully it's a good clean start where everybody gets to participate in all of the evening's festivities.
Well, it takes some pressure off for sure.
A little bit.
I think drivers aren't quite so concerned about making the race tonight, so they're probably less inclined to make some dive up the inside in the first corner and just more likely to run this out for fun as we waiting for CL Moon, who is not competing here tonight. So 10 seconds until we get the command to turn on those green lights and go racing for another 10 minutes before we run for our 20-minute feature event here at the end of the night to round out the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder. As here we go. Lights are red, waiting for them to extinguish. Matt Christie, Lupfer on the front row. Here we go. Green flag flies racing in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge LCQ from Brands Hatch. Down into turn 1, Christie pulls away free and clear. Harp has a look up the inside of Lupfer, unable to do much with it. Now they'll run down into Druids up the inside. There's the red car. That's the number 40 of Matthew Morhart. He had an issue late in heat number 1, I believe it was, but he'll move himself up into 3rd. A great start for the red car.
Yeah, super clean start there so far. A little bit of a gap to chase there. Christie out front and Luke for chasing. It good and clean. And so far, just about a half a second separating all the cars. We'll see in just a few minutes. We got about 9 minutes to go. See what happens with these flat sixes. These beautiful cars here in the British countryside. They
absolutely sound amazing. Matt Christie is one that started on pole here tonight, nice and tidy so far. Trying to pull away from Max Lupfer, who had a spin early in his heat race and wants a little bit of redemption. And we know how quick he can be. He's got a lot of experience within the iRacing service and has been around for quite a while here. I think he knows how to get it done, so he's going to put some pressure on Christie now as they head down into Sterling's.
Clean first lap so far, and Christie really running a nice tidy line.
It's all about the brakes in this car, and there was some discussion. Speaking of brakes, there was a discussion about there's a couple cars out there that I thought had ABS, Adam, and don't actually have ABS. One of the drivers that didn't have ABS was Annika Carter. She was entering her first GLTC event in her V6 Mustang, which is actually a swap from an automatic to a manual. With that, disabled the ABS and made that car very sketchy to drive. And so she didn't race the rest of the weekend, which was probably a good decision because that car didn't look like it was very fun.
No, it looked like it was kind of an on-off switch for her. She talked to me on midday Saturday and said, I just don't feel comfortable out there with this car yet. Can I run some HPDE by myself? And I said, if it'll help you sort that car out, that's fine. I'm not going to make you compete. No problem. No problem at all. Hopefully she can get the braking system sorted out in that car. We have a lot of modern ABS cars. When you take away the ABS, the bias and the balance is not quite there. So you got to replumb some systems.
That's what I heard Tom tell me about. Big slide for the race leader. Christie's off, and through goes Lupfer to the top spot. And one little mistake is all it took to get Christie out of the top spot, and through goes the 688. Well done pass there to take advantage.
Yeah, very good advantage taking there. And we'll see what Lupfer's got for us in the next 7 minutes. But yeah, when you take away ABS on an ABS car, especially in the modern era, sometimes in SCCA world, I even saw drivers chopping the pad material off of rear brake pads because they were getting lockup issues. I've seen vice grips clamping off the rear lines in order to make the car drivable. Because there's some race classes that don't allow ABS, but then they also allow 2012, 2015, 2020 cars. So a re-engineering, and sometimes the engineering happens at Lowe's or Home Depot, is needed, unfortunately.
That's such an interesting, I'm sort of surprised that, there's a lot of systems in modern cars that you can turn off. ABS is not one of the easy ones, from my understanding.
No, especially some of the new stuff. It seems like the rear brakes really get a brunt of the hydraulic pressure, and that can make the car turn around when you want it to slow down instead.
Yes. So, I think there was a discussion. I think DJ got a chance to drive Eric Cattill's EG on Sunday afternoon, and he was telling me that the biggest thing that was hard to get used to was Eric's brake pedal is very stiff to the point where he felt like he was actually bending the brake pedal itself. It was flexing when he was trying to get all the brake pressure needed in that car, because I believe Eric's brakes are not boosted.
It's got a booster delete from Honed in his car. And that usually increases the pedal pressure by quite a lot. A very different scenario when you're used to DJ's car is a little bit more modern, got an ABS system on that car.
So there's Cavalejas going around for a loop. Max Lupfer will come across the line this time through 5 minutes ago, so just about halfway through. Doing very nicely. Now, and once you're out in front here, you can kind of pace yourself here, Adam. Not as much stress or concern when you don't have someone breathing down your neck.
Cars here as well, so a few less neck breathers to be had. Hopefully everybody can get the finishing position they want.
Oh, as we say that.
Likely only one of them can.
That worried me. I'm going to get off him because that's commentator's curse to be watching him and saying how good he's doing. We're going to end up making him crash. Christie now has pressure from James Barr in the 61. He started up front in the first heat and immediately spun out into turn number 1. Cold tires bit him, so he's trying to fight his way back for at least something of a starting spot. He sits third right now after starting back in 5th.
Christie looking pretty solid. Lupfer just in front with a 127.741, but James Barr with a 126.885 last lap around. So it's shrinking that gap just a little bit. Right now the gap 2.4 seconds, Lupfer to Christie though.
3 laps to go. Next time by as the field heads down into Sterling's Bend and then over to Clark Curve. We'll round out the lap here, and there's James Barr coming up underneath the bridge trying to close it on Matt Christie. Lupfer, who had a bit of a messy first sector, going to try to clean that up this time. We'll ride on board here as we head down into turn number 1 where the track falls away. Have to aim for the inside apex, clobber the curb, slide out, use every inch of asphalt and pavement under the bridge into Druids.
There, I do love the way you guys are panning these cameras here. This track is just, it really showcases the pretty of this English countryside. Just an awesome track.
Cool, and there's also a short course that if we go from high above here, we might be able to get a glimpse of as...
Yeah, kind of a kidney-shaped short course.
It's right here on the bottom screen. Basically, from here on over, you can take a shortcut, and that is a very, very short course. When we talk about short courses, usually it's not that much shorter, but here it's quite a very small, very oval-shaped racetrack once you get that all sorted.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be sub 1 minute in a moderately quick car.
So now it looks like Lupfer, the 1.8 and make it 1.7 second lead. James Barr is actually starting to set some pretty quick laps. 7/10 better last time through. Will be 2 laps to go for Lupfer when he crosses the line. Trying to not make any mistakes. He's made a few this race, but has had the benefit of having a lead that he had built up to take advantage of. But James Barr is coming here, Adam, with 2 laps to go. This time through, it's going to be another, 7/10 of a second that he gains.
Yeah, that gap was over 3 seconds at one point. Right now, we're down to 1.483 with a 126.999 for the last lap there for James Barr. Last lap for Lupfer, though, pretty strong with a 128 still. So Barr is coming, but Lupfer, all he's got to do is put his head down, hit those marks, and drive this car.
And just be consistent. That's something Lupfer's been struggling with. Maybe it helps to have a rabbit out front just to help you a little bit. Especially if it's an unfamiliar track, it doesn't hurt to be following someone to kind of get a better idea of where their braking points are.
It's always easier for me. The very few times I've been up front in a sprint race, those are difficult moments there, and I usually give it back to somebody else, and then it's more fun to chase. And those are tracks that I have driven hundreds of laps on. This is a place that is unfamiliar in real life to all these drivers for the most part.
Yeah, this is a track I believe that was used for Forza side of GRIDLIFE gaming time attack competitions, from my understanding. So some of the drivers that might have cross-polluted into both, they might have some experience here, but very different experiences in iRacing versus Forza for a multitude of reasons. But across the line this time through will be white flag for Lupfer, and James Barr has closed another 7/10 of a second easily this lap, and he might be right on the tailpipes of Lupfer at the end of this lap.
Yeah, under 1 second now. We're seeing he's starting to be able to read the words on the back of Lupfer's car, so it's getting close. Final lap here right now. You can see that braking zone shrinking quite a bit. Barr is really, really nailing it here. Lupfer is still in a good spot. All he's got to do is really, really run hard, but Barr is trying.
He has the advantage of the track position, so he's able to go defensive and maybe keep Barr behind him as they now climb through Surtees and up towards Hawthorne Bend. Great run for Barr, though. He's going to have the advantage of the slipstream on this long straight. He will be there, but now you have to plan. Are you going to make your move into Sterling's or maybe into Clark? I think right now is too early. You have to wait to that last sector.
Yeah, real close, though. Only a few more turns to go here. At 120 miles an hour into the braking zone. Hard right-hander, fast, and we are seeing that gap shrink right now, down to 0.299, up from
he slips!
From 3 seconds.
And he slips, and that was it. Just one little slip. Maybe he took too much curb, and that's all it took to take him out of a chance to win this race. And
up to 3 seconds there for the gap. Yeah, it was looking good there for Barr, but great performance there for Lupfer in the LCQ.
Too much curb. Max Lupfer will come on through. He'll take a checkered flag in the LCQ. James Barr, that's heartbreak for him. Might have had a run at Lupfer, but we'll have to satisfied with second. Matt Christie comes home in third. Chris Harp fourth. George Fike in fifth. Then Montello and McDaniels running out the rest of the field. We get ready to go racing. We're going to take a break for just a few minutes, and we'll be right back with the start of the feature event with us.
Dude, that's sweet.
Keep your car, your boat, your equipment ready when you need it to be. This is Staybill. Fuel can go bad in as little as 30 days, but for more than 60 years, Staybill has remained the brand to keep it fresh. Briggs & Stratton, Mastercraft, and Mecum Auctions trust the original fuel stabilizer. So can you. Spend more time doing the things you love with engines that help get you there. Staybill, since 1958.
What do we do when we love something? We protect it. We keep it clean. We yearn for time to stand still. At 303, we know it better than most. Engineered 40 years ago to protect aircraft, 303 products now bring out the best in your ride, your boat, and your home. For however you want to protect the things you love, we've got your number.
Welcome back live to GRIDLIFE Gaming and the final race of the season of the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder. For Austin Cobb, the points leader, the mission is simple. Just stay on the track and stay out of trouble. For everyone else, it's go for broke, go for the race win. There's 40 drivers on track at Brands Hatch Circuit for the final race. GRIDLIFE iRacers season. No telling when we'll be back, but it's going to be amazing to watch the next 20 minutes of action. We get ready to go racing. On the left-hand side of the screen, the grid will roll down through 40 seconds until the flag man will take the green flag and wave it one final time this spring. As real racing returns, GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is back in full swing, and we've got real racing to watch the next couple months in hand, so time for one last esports adventure where the Summer Sun comes out and bakes us all to death, Adam.
Yep. Historically, GRIDLIFE iRacers has taken a few months off in the middle of the year as we get back to burning tires down in the real world. Glad to see these racers out here for one more time to shine out here at Brands Hatch. A lot of familiar names and just about ready to go green flag here with the Porsches at Brands Hatch.
Here we go. Dan Nyman, Tom O'Gorman on the front row. 14 laps, 20 minutes worth of action from Brands Hatch Circuit on GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge. Waiting for the green flag to drop. Nyman and O'Gorman going to lead them down. The flat six is roaring and screaming. Green flag flies, racing again in GRIDLIFE iRacers. Tom O'Gorman quickly and immediately cuts hard right to grab in front of his prior IMSA teammate Kenton Cook. Now the run down through turn number 1, 2, 3 wide to the midfield. Jackie Ding in the middle of it all. Now they head into Druids for the first time. Sorting out Tomo to the inside. Kenton Cook to driver's left. Cobb sorts himself out into fourth as they run now down to Graham Hill for the first time.
Dropping down into this S section of Brands Hatch. Real clean so far, real tight as well. 40 cars deep. This is quite a melee. Cars off right, cars off left, but regaining. Super solid. A couple cars in the back there turned around, but looks like they have not had contact.
Spar is one of them. Eric Hallmark is another, but we're not going to get distracted from that. We'll head back out front. Nyman, O'Gorman, Kenton Cook, 3 heavy hitters in this series. And Nyman's got a lot of sports car racing talent behind him. Kenton Cook out in the grass. He saves it. Behind him, Barroso and Alessandrini side by side. But a fender rubbing there as they head now through some of the fastest sections of the course. Austin Cobb, the points leader, just needs to stay out of trouble. He's behind trouble. 2 wide now as they head through Dingle Dell and now into Sheaves.
There by Kenton Cook. He looked like he saw both sides of that racetrack inside of one split second, but he gathered it back up. Car is pointed in the right direction and still maintaining pace, real close to those leaders. P3 right now, I believe.
So the race leaders come on through. Dan Nyman leads lap number 1. He's got an IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge winner, 4-time winner behind him in that Porsche 911 Cup car. Now down through turn number 1. Tomo putting the pressure onto the braking zone into Druids. Right offset behind him. Chris Boersma has Jason Lisner side by side with him. And on the inside of them is, Drew Cleaver. 3 wide, slips and slides on the brakes. Rear tires lock up. He gets it back under control. Jackie Ding in the number 86 is in front of these drivers as well. There goes Drew Cleaver off into the tire barrier.
Not too hard of a hit, but a hit nonetheless, taking away some of that momentum. When you stop, you're not going fast anymore. But these drivers really, overall, real clean first couple laps there. 17 minutes to go, a 20-second gap there in the first few cars, if I'm looking at these scoring correctly. That can't be correct.
Nope, yeah, Drew Cleaver reset, so he now jumped to the top of the order.
Yes.
So Nyman and O'Gorman.
We're only seeing about a 2-car gap here, P1, P2, P3. I always forget about that timing.
It's a weird thing. It's very confusing.
I'm only like a few races into this iRacing commentary.
You learn to ignore it. I think it's a product of having the live timing update so quickly. If we had the race monitor race hero thing where it only updates once a lap, it wouldn't be a problem. But that's how life is sometimes. Tomo, though, putting a lot of pressure on Nyman down the front straight. Big defensive move for Nyman. Now he puts Tomo off the driver's left, squeezes him all the way to the AstroTurf on the left. Now down through one, dropping down several stories in the run up to Druids.
With the look left, set him up a little bit pinched off there in that first right-hander, but still maintaining a real tight position to the back bumper of Nyman. We will see in the next 16 minutes how that goes. Wishing good luck here to all the drivers at the front. Beautiful first couple laps so far.
Here the Grasscrete rumbling and buzzing underneath Ken Seal's slick tires as he heads now up the hill. He's got Austin Cobb in front of him, Alex Barroso behind him. Mentioned Jackie Ding, looks like as he dropped out of the front running. Oh, he's back to 14th, so a little bit of a mistake for Ding, but he'll fall back to about 15th spot with whatever happened there. Chris Boersma has headed back to pit lane as well. Some trouble for the 11. That's big damage on this car. Let's go back and see what happened to him. He just went off. Couldn't get the car stopped at him and right into the tire barrier.
Yeah, just a little bit of a hard hit there, but happy to see him out here with us at Brands Hatch. We do miss ourselves a Chris Boersma in real life. It was kind of a bummer to not see all of our K-Tuned and our Great White North buddies, but we will be reunited soon, I'm sure.
Dan Nyman comes across the line, leads now the second lap of racing. Kenton Cook, after the big slip-up he had on the opening lap, he's finally found his legs up underneath him again. A big slide through one, trying to get everything he can out of that car. DJ Alessandrini surprisingly far back, but running still pretty consistently good lap times. We'll see if he can close the gap to the front three. Head down the hill now. Checking back deeper in the field, Max Lutfer, who won our LCQ all over Corentin Dubois. That is for 17th place.
Solid battles all throughout the field. Real fun to watch right now.
For the race lead, here comes Tomo to driver's left. Door to door, wheel to wheel, two Porsches side by side. Kenton Cook behind him in third, waiting for these two to maybe get together, Adam, and clear the pathway.
1/10 separating them, less than a tenth. The cars are blending here in timing and scoring. Quite a battle here in front. P1, P2, P3, all, as you said, heavy hitters in virtual and real world here. And DJ in the hunt. I mean, if he has his way, he will be the fourth in this wild battle.
And Austin Cobb just staying in fifth behind as we now head into Sterling's Bend. The front three flat sixes on these Porsches, absolutely screaming for everything they're worth. About 450 horsepower in these cars now as we head through Clark's Corner to round out our fourth lap of action. Front three have settled for the time being. I'm nervous to pull away because the second I do, they're going to get tight again. So we'll stay on board with Tomo as he apexes real late in turn one. Look at the run he builds here, Adam, as they head up to Druids.
Puts that car all the way track right, all the way track left, and it shows in his lap times there with the 125.884, real fast. We're seeing a lot of 125s in the top five here. Consistency is paying off between all these drivers.
Great sounds here from iRacing as we head into the uphill section here in Surtees and get the run onto the long back straight. Meanwhile, Jacob Bessemer, who is top five in our first heat race, has Jason Lisner behind him, who ran really well at Sonoma. But Mackay Stevens, he's had quite the interesting night. He's going to go through, put himself inside the top 10 with a run up the inside of Lisner, who bounces off the curb up the hill and heads to Hawthorne Bend in 11th place now.
Minutes to go, just under in this battle, and I do want to say, we talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast, but I do want to say thank you to anybody watching and anybody in the grid life world. I just checked in with the GoFundMe for the car repair for Evan Weeder, and in less than 3 hours they have overfunded that repair. So really thankful for the rest of the community there.
That's awesome. That's so cool to see, and thank you again to everybody who was a part of that, and those who also wished Evan well, as Jackie Ding has had a bit of a slip up there. And we're briefly going to touch on this before we go back to mentioning some thanks here. This was a 2-car incident. The corner and a bit of a touch. 72, yep. Oh, wow.
No. Not a fun end to the race there. Jackie looks like he might get back on track there.
He has, and we'll continue. No GoFundMe for Jackie Ding's bent up Porsche, though. So, again, that's so cool to see. And when the GRIDLIFE community needs to come together, they always do, Adam. And that's really what you guys have been building, is you're building racing events, but you're also building a community. And with that, it always stands by each other, and it's so cool that we get to rebuild a race car now and put Evan's racing career back on track as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think you're seeing some of the makings of the Midwest track community. I mean, GRIDLIFE and any of there's a myriad of amazing organizations. I mean, we're surrounded by just such an awesome group of people, and from all walks of life. We're just really glad to be in this area of the country with all of them, and happy to see them help our friend get the car back in one piece. As Kenton Cook just about gathers that thing into the wall, he gathers it back on track. Here he is. He's still in the hunt, P4 right now.
A little bit of a mistake. We'll let DJ get on through and put himself in podium contention as the race leaders come on through, closing in on halfway. 11 minutes and 20 seconds left. Nyman has been very solid tonight. Thomas put some pressure on him, but I'm not sure that he's outright better. I think it's going to take a mistake by Nyman to change hands here as they head down into turn 1 and start 7th lap.
And Nyman does have the fastest lap right now. His best of a 125.554, being chased by Tom Gorman with 125.884. So about 0.3 there, and just behind him, the second best that I'm seeing is 125.7 in DJ. So all these drivers so close, and we're talking tenths of a second, and they're all making speed in slightly different ways. Somebody's good here, somebody's good there, and that kind of adds up to quite a good battle.
And for third, speaking of battles, Kenton Cook wants P3 back. He's on driver's left of DJ Alessandrini as they head down towards Hawthorne's. This is not a corner you can run side by side, so DJ tucks in line. Will let Kenton back through, and maybe this is in his best interest to let Kenton by and see if he can go run down those top two and maybe drag them back to him.
Yeah, this is DJ chasing Kenton after we just saw Kenton get passed by DJ, back and forth by these two drivers, both world class in the iRacing world. Kind of fun to see.
That's really the one thing that iRacing brings to the table here, Adam, is getting to compete. I mean, obviously, these Kenton and Tom are part of this community, but you could do this all over the service, is race against real-world professional racing drivers. I know Kenton was actually on iRacing with some of the McLaren factory drivers earlier today. Carlos Sainz.
I would expect nothing less.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was kind of chatting and shooting the breeze with him as well, which is really cool. Not something you can do in any other game.
No, Kenton, quite an accomplished race car driver in his own right in real life, and definitely consistent and fast here in the virtual world.
Guy Stevens and Marc-Antoine Blaise fighting together. This is for 8th and 9th. Behind them, Ravichandran Managaran and Alexander Lekowitz. This is for 12th position. The Mystery Machine going to try to cross over. Had to lift out of it there, Adam. Just didn't quite time that move right. And that's something that you got to learn. You're getting used to a different wheelbase of car. Making that crossover move and not hooking the guy around when you do it. It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice.
These Porsches are, they are historically, talked about, they've gotten bigger and bigger throughout the generations, but the wheelbase of these cars is still really, really short compared to anything modern. And the rear engine design throws a lot of that momentum towards the back half of the car.
And then with that momentum and a lot of the weight back there as well, you can use a lot more rear brake bias, which is something a lot of drivers work on throughout the race. They'll actually move their bias throughout the night as the tires burn off, or as they overheat certain areas of the car. They will move that bias rearward or forward to gain or lose balance in the nose or the rear. It's really interesting to watch these drivers adjust that throughout a race, because typically I'm myself not a terrible driver in iRacing, but I don't think to do stuff like that, and that really separates the men from the boys.
terrible driver in iRacing, and I definitely don't think about it. So the fact that you don't think about it, I mean, it shows you that it takes some serious skill here. Again, Lyman's still out there with the fastest lap of the race. Super consistent too. I mean, we're seeing a lot of 125s in the top 4 as their last lap, and also their best lap. So they've got these cars sorted out. We're about 13 minutes into this race, and they're still keeping this Porsche underneath of them. So.
Strong run for Lyman. He's been really kind of chomping at the bit all season long to get a race win, and tonight might be his night, but Tomo last time by a couple tenths off, but it's not out of the question. I also see a looming Ken Seal beginning to close the gap on Austin Cobb, who just needs a safe evening, probably won't contest this position. Oh, DJ's around right in front of the championship leader, and they collide. Cobb with huge damage to the nose of his car. That is huge for the points implications for Austin Cobb, and just like that, the questions of whether or not he can walk away with the championship with a car looking like that, Adam, that is huge.
Yeah, not looking good here. He's all over the track. This car is probably not ideal anymore. 7 minutes to go right now exactly. Austin Cobb's had quite a season, and that might be in jeopardy. Tiny moment.
Well, I think the one saving grace is that the driver he was fighting was DJ Alessandrini, so with that slip up, DJ spins and nowhere for Cobb to go, just absolutely obliterates the spinning number 1. And look at that, the hood flexing on that car as they collide together, and just the worst possible situation. All you want to do, Adam, is just finish a race without trouble, and this is not what Austin or DJ needed.
We were just talking about it, and there it was. The worst possible scenario, the wheel loose in the DJ front right. The race potentially over for both of them. We'll see how Cobb can continue. Lap 10 of 14, not a great one right there for Mr. Cobb or Mr. Alessandrini.
Well, Seal did make it through. Now, interestingly, Austin Cobb did stay out on the racetrack. That car is very worse for wear, but it is still running. I can't imagine it's
still in P6.
Aerodynamically efficient, but it's still out there running. We do see a car stopped on the right. Is that Joseph Dale? Yes, it is in the 33 car. DJ Alessandrini has fallen all the way to, looks like,
11th, 10th right now.
11th. That will be 10th place after Max Lupfer gets past in the pits. So this might not have changed as much as we thought. I mean, Austin Cobb is going to tough this one out with a very deformed Porsche 911 Cup car.
It does look like it sat in the sun a little bit too much and shriveled up, but it might still be fast. I mean, it looks like those front wheels are virtually pointed the right direction. We'll see in about 6 minutes if how things shape up as he's chased by the beautiful Apple livery, classic Porsche livery. We'll know in a minute.
Well, that's what you call a manual toe adjustment. Just jam the nose into whatever you have available and knock the front tires out in either direction. But he's 2 seconds a lap off pace. That will let Alex Barroso get it by him pretty easily here. Big swing to the left. That was a little closer than I think Barroso meant to make it, but he will go through and put himself in 5th place.
Lap of a 127.685, a little bit down from his 125 territory. 125.60, his best. I believe that puts him P3 in the time attack world. A very quick time, but the car quite not underneath of him, just a little bit behind where it ideally would be.
And Lyman, it's been so good. Oh, Austin Cobb, Austin Cobb looks like he is off the racetrack. What happened to the 36? Oh, he just crashed again. Here's another look at him. This was right behind as soon as Barroso had gotten by.
Hard left.
Oh, man. I might have called that quits there, unfortunately, but that will end the day for Austin Cobb, and no word yet on how the championship picture will look at the end of this. I can't imagine it'll be quite as obvious of a win for him as it would be before, so we'll check in after to tell you what happens as the clouds have come over Brands Hatch. Lyman has a 1 second lead over Tom McGorman.
Yeah, 125.55 is best, a 125.53 125.53 and a 125.538 for O'Gorman. A real close fastest lap there, and their last laps, O'Gorman 0.2 of a second faster with 125.9 versus 125.7. 1 second, as you said, 1.016 the gap at the moment.
Oh, DJ again. He has just had an awful night tonight. And more damage on that car. I'm not sure if he just got this. He just got loose again all on his own and gets hit from behind, finished off by the 18 car of Guy Stevens. But just rare mistakes, and obviously I'm sure the car is not helping after the damage he got originally, but not a good night for him.
Car obviously damaged in that first incident, and probably not steering the back half of the car quite as easily, and these cars already are a tail-happy design. Unfortunately, that is probably not boding well for the finishing position of Mr. DJ, but we're still happy to have him in the back-end organization of this GRIDLIFE iRacers, and I hope he's not too sad.
He might be a little sad, but it's okay.
He's gonna be a little bit mad at DJ, but DJ earned whatever DJ gets, and I think DJ should definitely get some thanks for helping in the back end of this series.
Yes, absolutely, and he's done a lot of work alongside Tom O'Gorman and others who have put in effort to make this happen. And he doesn't make a lot of mistakes usually, and this has been the series. He's had a couple incidents like this, and this just goes to show you how difficult this Porsche Cup car is to drive. It is not easy for anybody, including DJ Alessandrini, and he might be fast in it, but he's also a lot more prone to mistakes than he usually is, and the same with everybody else. So we started this race with 40 cars, but we've lost about 13 of them, and that's just because this car is hard.
2 laps to go here right now. Lyman's still the leader. He's held a dominant position throughout the race. Last lap of 125.9. He really has this car figured out. It's 125 after 125, just solid performance. But he's being chased right now by a couple of monsters. O'Gorman, Cook, Hausil, they're right there.
Well, Tom had a really good lap that time through. That was much better than Lyman. 4/10 better. He's got to do that again to even have a shot at Lyman, but a good run through turn number 1. He is gripped up. The track is cooled slightly with the clouds coming over, and now the race leaders battling for position through Druids here. 0.3 of a second, 3 car lengths as they head through Druids for the final time in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge. Lyman leads, O'Gorman second. Kenton Cook is 3 seconds back in third. It's really just the front 2 that have a shot.
Last couple turns, we've seen O'Gorman a little bit stronger on the brakes, but Lyman a little bit stronger on corner exit. If I'm reading the screen correctly here, it is still anybody's game here. One slip up, and either one of these drivers really could win. We're seeing less than 0.9 of a second. But O'Gorman in a good position here. Last lap, though. Last lap is tough.
Saw him pick up the throttle really early. He punched it to get rotation in the car. Maybe struggling with some understeer in that machine. We saw also Lyman weaving down the backstretch. That tells me that O'Gorman is in Lyman's head. He's distracted right now as they head now through Dingledell and into Sheens, into Sterling's Bend for the final time. Tomo may be too far back. Look at the lunge he has. He's trying to use every little bit of power he can to get there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Dan Lyman from pole, a flawless evening, flawless execution, and in the final race of the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge season, Dan Lyman in the Lazarus Esports car, he will come home in victory lane. Tom O'Gorman second place in the 94, Kenton Cook in third, rounds out your podium.
Yeah, beautiful drive there for both O'Gorman and Lyman. Good to see, as we said in the last race, good to see O'Gorman get a good, solid, clean start and a really fun race to watch. Looks like a fun one to drive as well, but congrats to Lyman out of New Jersey. A beautiful, beautiful start, beautiful finish, and just a well-done race here at Brands Hatch and the Porsches.
Well, checkered flag is out on not only this race, but the season. Tomo 0.8 back. Good battle we saw there as Dan takes the short course here. High above as he celebrates his burnouts here on the short course. And thanks again to Finney DeCuna for setting up the camera angles for us tonight. Get a wonderful drone shot. Matt from Specialty Streaming would really be enjoying this right now.
Yeah. Good to see a lot of the other drivers down in the mid-pack there and towards the field. Looks like Hausil P4, Barroso P5 as we see some contact post-race. And Lisner, Blaze, Stevens, Lekowitz, and Christoph round out the top 10. Great job overall. We've seen some of those drivers have a struggle throughout the season. I mean, one little incident can take you out of a race, and 3 little incidents can take you out of 3. Good to see a lot of those drivers have a decent race here tonight.
That's like a children's book for race car fans, the 3 little incidents.
I should probably write that. I got a 6-year-old. She'd probably love that book.
3 little incidents.
The 3 little black flags.
Oh, man. All right, well, Austin Cobb, 25th place will be his finish, and DJ Alessandrini in 24th. That might be the saving grace for Cobb, is that he finished right behind DJ. We'll update you on the point situation as soon as we know. We do have Tom O'Gorman already waiting for us here, so we're going to drag him in and have a little conversation, and we'll have a little chat here. Tom O'Gorman, 2nd place tonight in the 94 car, 8/10 back from Dan Nyman. Some drama with the points leader and DJ Alessandrini, but runner-up for you tonight. Walk us through it.
I mean, honestly, if you'd have told me tonight was going to go this well, I would have sent you to your room without dinner. Think about what you've done. But I'm honestly just really happy to do that well. I mean, we just had our first real GRIDLIFE event at spring kickoff at Gingerman, and I told everybody and their mother that would listen that I can't wait until it feels like my value is worth something other than however well I do in the last iRace. So kind of shifting back into the real world and seeing so many friends, and then coming back into iRacing world just with a really relaxed mentality, and then to do this well is so refreshing, and it's like a cherry on top to kind of put a stamp on what feels like a shift back towards reality, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm just thrilled to have done that well, especially with my paint scheme.
It was good to see you on track in real life. Good to see you on track here in the virtual world, and super clean run throughout the night in all the races you're in. Any tips to anybody in the future with these Porsches?
I mean, it's just about mistake management with the Porsches in general, specifically, but in iRacing in general, it's just like real life, where one mistake costs you a whole lot, but it's so much easier to do in these cars and in this game in general. So I really believe in the relaxed mentality. I think that's volumes about how seriously I've taken it over the last 2 months, and my most success comes right after a real life event where I'm feeling kind of refreshed and rejuvenated and not feeling like this matters a whole lot, and you do this well. So I would also say just kind of relax and have fun with it.
Visualize the win, right?
There you go. Yeah, you see yourself win, it's going to happen, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Tom, congratulations. A really strong run this season to finish it out on a high note there, especially with that paint scheme. Thanks for jumping in with us, and thanks for feeding me the information about the championship situation, because I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to play out. So we have that. We'll announce that here in just a moment. Tom, thanks for your time. Thanks for your effort in setting up and running the series.
Thanks, guys, a lot.
Got Kenton Cook joining us as well. He finished on the podium in 3rd place. Kenton, your drive tonight was behind Tomo and Dan Nyman, but there was some drama in and around you. Just walk me through your night and driving here at Brands Hatch in the Porsche 911 Cup car.
It's a handful. But you're slow when it's a handful. So you gotta keep your hand's not full, and you'll be quick. So smooth is quick with this thing, but it's really easy to overdrive. They were really quick, and I made a mistake in that lost touch, and that was my race. And when you're racing against guys that are really good and don't make mistakes, you have to be on top of your game. So they did a really good job.
Any input for anybody watching about how to drive these cars? Like, what are some of your key setup points? Is there any advice you can give to anybody?
Yeah, I mean, just making sure the car has a good front end, so that you don't have to. Just so it makes it easy for you to get the car turned in the middle to get it squared up and shot off the corner, because getting good exits is what's crucial with this car, and if you're overdriving the entry, you'll never get a good exit. So making sure you're not overdriving the entry while being able to prepare for a good exit is critical. But obviously it's easy to go slow and fast out, but you have to go fast in, fast out to be able to get a good lap time. So it's the key is not the key is just barely not over driving the entry, but under driving it enough to be able to get a good exit, and that's the fine line that's hard to get.
Yeah, that happy balance of perfection. It's it's just right
the edge.
And thanks for your time and podium finish for you tonight. Strong run. It was fun to watch you out there and competing here in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge. Thanks so much for your time and talking to us. We'll talk later.
Always good fun.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
On now to we'll have a little quick conversation with DJ Alessandrini, who finished down unofficially in 24th place. DJ, tonight, not the greatest of nights. A couple mistakes. So easy to make in these cars. Just walk us through what happened this evening.
Oh, man, I was just talking to Tom. I didn't want to be in here, but...
We're going to make you talk, DJ. You can't. We're not going to let you slide under the radar, whether you win or whether you finish 25th. So tell them what happened.
I was having a real good time. This is one of my favorite tracks. I didn't get a chance to practice it until tonight, so I did like a 4-hour binge of driving this track before the thing started. And I got real bored like halfway through that race. So too much practice, if that's a thing, right before the race. Normally I like to practice day before and then come into the race fresh and like ready to party. But basically I was behind Kenton and I got like a weird bounce through the second right-hander after the back straight. And I thought I would just drive through the bounce, much like you do in a GLTC Civic on Coney Yellows. And the Porsche hated that. It hated it with all of its might, and it flipped me around. And then me and Austin made contact, and it made my car drive all wonky. And at some point, I just went, I'm not having fun. I'd have more fun watching the stream. So I pulled over and watched the rest of the stream.
Well, we do appreciate your help in the back end of this series. Sometimes things don't go right in the virtual world in racing. Sometimes the same happens in real life. But it's been fun to watch you throughout the series and fun to talk about you too.
Hey, did you guys see that GoFundMe goal was already met?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, it's been overfunded already, which is really it speaks volumes about the track, about the Midwest track community. Just really, just a great bunch of people. Just a great bunch.
You just like feel the love.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the craziest incident I've ever seen in real life. As I drove up in there with the Gingerman truck with track lead Joe. It was gnarly, but I was just more than relieved to see both drivers out of the cars, both drivers just happy to be there, and I was very happy to have them. So,
I mean, as far as how bad the incident was, it couldn't really have had a better outcome. One driver had track insurance, both walked away. The other one, successful GoFundMe campaign. Like they'll both be at the track again because they're alive and they're gonna have cars. So, I mean.
Yeah, it's real happy to have both of them. Both super experienced drivers, and nothing like a freak mechanical failure to take a car away from both of them. But luckily, we have them still. So nothing bad to say about having some buddies in existence still.
Hey DJ, thanks so much for your time. Unfortunate finish, but obviously we appreciate your help with the series. I look forward to seeing you again here in GRIDLIFE iRacers.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. On now to Daniel Lyman, who gets himself a race win in the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge right at the conclusion of it all. And Daniel, tonight, holding off Tom O'Gorman, an IMSA competitor, an IMSA winner. That's got to be, make your hair stand up on the back of your neck when you got him chasing you down, hunting you down. But you did an excellent job tonight. Won your heat race, won pole, went out there and won the race. Walk us through it.
Yeah, it was a crazy night. I was never been that nervous before in a race. I've raced in front of live audiences and stuff on Forza, but still the pressure was nowhere near what this was like with Kenton and Tom behind me. They've been strong all season. I knew what to expect when I was racing against them and made a few mistakes early in both races, but I'm just happy that I was able to pull it off for once.
All nose to tail. I mean, it was a super tight battle, P1, 2, 3, and even 4 there at points. But you led that thing start to finish. You had that car really underneath you Any advice to anybody that's driving these Porsches in iRacing? Any setup advice? Any driver advice?
I think the best thing you can do to learn how to drive this car is to get into looking at your own data. I was pretty lost at the start of the season. Started analyzing my data and creating my own setup to fit my driving style, and it made a world of difference. So I think just analyzing the technical side of driving this car is a huge part of being fast.
Yeah, I can see that. You really got that car coming off of the corners super well and super tidy and neat under braking. So, that car is dialed for sure.
Daniel, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on your race win, and hopefully we'll see you around again in GRIDLIFE iRacers. Enjoy your evening. Celebrate the win. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and that looks like it's going to wrap things up. But I do have an official word on the championship winner, Austin Cobb. Despite everything that happened, Adam, he won by 4 points over Dan Lyman. It's absolutely amazing, and that was it's lucky because he pretty much ended his own night there at the very end. So 4 points, Austin Cobb will win the championship, and he's not available to chat with, but I believe there is something coming his way. But very excited to have Mike's Harder on board with us, as well as 303 Stay Built coming on here at the end of the season. So some great partners alongside us here at GRIDLIFE to make this all come to fruition and happen this season, and we thank them for their support, and I look forward to having them around again in the future, perhaps.
Yeah, really appreciate all the drivers and everybody that's helped in the back end, iRacing wise, and in the stream. Obviously, you, Finian, Chris, everybody who has been in the back end of this broadcast. Talking about it is fun, but building it is difficult. So really appreciate you and everybody else in the backside and all the drivers as well.
Yeah, and especially for Chris, he's been pulling some long hours putting together all the video content that you've seen and working on the partnership. So thanks to Chris Stewart for that. And Adam, thanks for you for giving up some of your Tuesday nights to come join us here in the booth. I know you're a busy man, especially coming off an event and heading to another one here in a couple weeks. So thanks for joining me, and you did an amazing job. We love having you here. Hopefully we'll have you around again.
Amazing, but it definitely happened. So.
All right, that's going to do it for the GRIDLIFE iRacers Hard Times Challenge presented by Mike's Harder, 303 and Stay Built. So that's going to do it for us here on GRIDLIFE YouTube channel. And thanks so much. If you want to find out more about GRIDLIFE Gaming, head to grid.life for more information, not only on the esports program, but upcoming GRIDLIFE events, including our next GRIDLIFE event. GLTC will be there. Time Attack will be there. It will be at Autobahn Country Club towards the end of the month. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in us, you can find us at simtvbroadcasting.com or youtube.com/simtvbroadcasting. Lots of GLTC content coming there in the next couple days, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Again, my name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Adam Jabay. We'll see you next time on GRIDLIFE Gaming.
Dude, that's sweet.
What do we do when we love something? We protect it. We keep it clean. We yearn for time to stand still. At 303, we know it better than most. Engineered 40 years ago to protect aircraft, 303 products now bring out the best in your ride, your boat, and your home. For however you want to protect the things you love, we've got your number.
Keep your car, your boat, your equipment ready when you need it to be. This is Stay Built. Fuel can go bad in as little as 30 days, but for more than 60 years, Stay Built has remained the brand to keep it fresh. Briggs & Stratton, Mastercraft, and Mecum Auctions trust the original fuel stabilizer. So can you. Spend more time doing the things you love with engines that help get you there. Stay Built since 1958.